I don't know what I just read, man. Chapter 1138 is one of the best One Piece chapters ever. The lore goes way deeper than we thought. There will be manga spoilers in this video. We start the chapter with Loki recovering from Gunko's attacks. And this is where he notices that Shamrock is the spitting image of Red Hair Shanks. And he's like, did you really think I would just write this off as a coincidence? And he must be deducing this with observation hockey because his eyes are still covered. Shamrock does not answer him though, and Gunko says, mind your business. And Loki's like, okay, sure, yeah, but a great pirate and a celestial dragon are polar opposites. You can't blame me for being curious. And this is where Shamrock finally tells us what the deal is. Shanks is his younger twin, and he went astray. And at one point he did visit Mary Joie, but he became too attached to the outside world, according to Shamrock. So maybe this could still be Shanks. It would make this scene make a lot more sense. But either way, Shanks' visit to Mary Joie was not friendly, I guarantee it. And that's because of this statement from Road to Laughtail. And Loki's like, damn, that's pretty funny how I have a grudge against both of you brothers. But then he says, when I get out of these chains, I'll make it my mission to avenge my buddies. Shamrock did not like that. He says, is that supposed to be a threat? And Gunko's like, yo, chill. But Shamrock's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna get my hands dirty. And then he pulls out his sword. And then he says, isn't that right, Cerberus? And then we see these three heads emerge from his sword. This panel is just crazy, and it's not stated to be a devil fruit here, which I find interesting. It's similar to the Gorosei's powers. I personally think that the Holy Knights and the Gorosei all have powers that were granted to them by Emu. Loki's like, what is that? And Shamrock answers him. He says, it's my biting blade. These things are gnarly, man. It takes sword swallowers to a whole new level. Loki is understandably pretty frightened, as most people would in this circumstance. He literally can't move, and he has to deal with this monstrosity. That's when the heads begin to move, and Loki's like, what's going on? Gunko says it's time to move on here, and that's when Shamrock says scramble. Three heads get launched from their body and they head towards Loki. Shamrock hops on this bird thing that Gunko made. And I've seen people say this is giving Akatsuki vibes like Datara. And I would like to agree with that. The Holy Knights do seem similar to the Akatsuki. Shamrock says, feel free to hunt me down at any time if you survive this. That's pretty cold. And Loki's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He is just perplexed at this power that is being launched at him. He's like, you got to be kidding me. And yeah, he tanks it right here while being completely chained up. This dude's endurance is pretty powerful. And as they're on the move, Shamrock says, let's start taking their children hostage. We'll need another person. And Gunko says, who should I call? So they're obviously going to summon another Holy Knight to Elbaf. Straw Hats will definitely have their hands full with these guys. Then we cut back to the castle where Luffy's group is, and one of the giant guards tells Luffy that it was Red Hair Shanks who attacked him. But Luffy does not believe this, of course. The giant is convinced it was Shanks, and Luffy's like, Shanks would never do this, I know him. Zoro's even questioning this too. He's like, Shanks was just here, why would he come back like that? Luffy's just not having it with this dude. He's like, there's no way it could be Shanks. It doesn't add up. And Nami's like, wow, you really glazed this, man. And Luffy's like, yeah, obviously, you would do the same if someone badmouthed Telemere. And Nami has to correct him, saying it's Bellemere. That's when they start to think, does Shanks have a brother? Luffy thinks maybe Shanks has a brother, but he never talked about his family. He heard that Shanks was raised on a pirate ship when he was little, and that's when we see a little snippet of this dude that's just been lurking on Elbaf this entire time. It's clearly the same dude who was talking to Crocus way back in like the chapter 600 range. And this is definitely either Gabon or Shiki. I'm still not convinced it's either one. It definitely resembles Shiki. It has the same clothes, but the way that Oda is putting him in this panel here, he makes it seem like it's a Roger pirate. Luffy says, I figure their whole crew was Shanks' real family, except for Buggy. Then we're shown Frankie and Ripley over at the Atom Tree, and Frankie's just amazed at all this wood. He thought it was a rare thing, and Ripley's like, maybe I should sell it, while she's holding Frankie. But then Frankie notices a mural, and this is the craziest part of the chapter. If you haven't heard about this yet, I don't know. Ripley explains that it's graffiti from way back when. Some kid etched it in there, and it became fossilized. It's said to date back 800 to 900 years ago, which would be in the middle of the Void Century. And Frankie's like, we gotta show Robin, she'll be thrilled. He notices that not all the figures in the mural are giants. Ripley says there was definitely times when the races of the world clashed. But this type of cooperation is unheard of. And that's why she thinks it was probably just some kid's dream, but I don't know about that. We're shown the Walrus School classes in session currently. Robin and Chopper are still in the Owl Library with Saul, and this is where Saul brings out the Harley text. Countless interpretations of this book, and that's why giants believe that the sun god was a savior and a destructor. Saul then allows Robin to read the book. It's split into 3 different sections, and supposedly the third world refers to the present day. He says legends of Nika have spread silently throughout the world, and they all have one thing in common. It's a person who laughs to this booming beat. Saul reenacts the Nika dance, and that's when Robin begins to read the book aloud while Frankie is looking at the mural. And right here, guys, this is probably the greatest piece of lore we have ever received in the One Piece manga, like in its entirety, in my opinion. So there's the first world where the earth burned in endless flame, and in the hearts of men burned with desire. From whispered prayers the sun god rose, beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star. The god of the land was enraged with a serpent of fire. They cast the world into ruin, darkness fell, death reigned. They would not meet again. Then there's the second world. So a breath stirred in the abyss. The god of the forest wove their magic, nurturing its devils. While the sun lit the embers of war, those of the half-crescent and full moons dreamed. Yet the ones who slew the sun defied themselves, evoking the wrath of the sea god. They would not meet again. Then there's the third world, which is supposedly present day. Chaos reigns, the world drifts in a void, yet time does not erase the memory of the promised day. Its shadow looms as the voice of the half-moon echoes through the ages, and once more the sun god shall rise, laughing, dancing, guiding the world to its final act. The sun is reborn. A new dawn will break. Surely this time they will meet. There is so much to wrap your head around just in this panel alone. I want to make an entire separate video on my interpretations of that. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this panel, because I'm going to let this sink in a little bit before I delve too deep into it. But there's definitely a lot of stuff there. I'm not sure if this creature is Emu. There's just so much stuff you could take away from this. I do think this is telling us how devil fruits were created in the second world. But over the next few weeks, I really want to advise you guys to not correct people over your interpretations of this panel, because we just really don't know what this means exactly yet. And you're probably wondering, well, how does Bogard play into this? Well, the thing is, this arc Bogard could very well be included in. I've already discussed this, but the fact that this character is most likely someone from the old generation, probably Shiki or Gabon, they were both at God Valley, they could very well lore drop God Valley to us. This character, I feel like, will definitely explain to Luffy what the Holy Knights are, and if they were at God Valley, they probably would explain, like, oh, I saw the Holy Knights at God Valley, where Bogard was as well. Maybe not like that verbatim, but a flashback to God Valley would reveal Rock's face and Garp fighting with Bogard, you know? So there's that. Anyways, look out for my video where I try to delve into this crazy panel we got at the end of the chapter.